Since Gene Cernan climbed back into his Apollo 17 capsule in December 1972, no human being has ventured beyond low Earth orbit. For more than half a century, that orbital boundary has been our absolute ceiling. That changes on April 1, 2026. The Artemis II mission will launch 4 humans toward the moon aboard the spacecraft Integrity, lifting off from Kennedy Space Center's Launch Pad 39B. Take a look at this chart comparing liftoff power. The Space Launch System, or SLS, generates 8.8 million pounds of thrust. That exceeds the iconic Saturn V rocket by 15%, making it the most powerful machine ever built to carry humans. But the engineering scale is matched by intense financial friction. The overall Artemis program carries a projected price tag of $93 billion. NASA officials have privately noted that the $4.1 billion cost of a single SLS and Orion launch is unsustainable for the long term. Getting this rocket to the pad has been a massive technical struggle. NASA pushed the launch from late 2024 to 2026 after facing a gauntlet of delays, including a severe liquid hydrogen leak and a helium valve failure during the critical wet dress rehearsals. Meanwhile, external pressure is mounting. China is actively flight validating its own hardware, including the Long March 10 rocket, with a stated goal of putting Chinese astronauts on the lunar surface before 2030. Artemis II is a highly visible strategic signal. The nation that establishes a sustained lunar presence first will likely dictate the legal and commercial frameworks for resource extraction and territorial norms on the moon. A failure on this test flight puts that influence at risk. On Flight Day 1, the twin solid rocket boosters burn through 1.4 million pounds of propellant in 2 minutes, then detaches from the core stage as Orion is pushed into a high elliptical orbit, reaching 1,200 nautical miles above Earth. This new crew shatters the Apollo template. For the first time, a person of color and a non-American will travel beyond low Earth orbit on a single mission. The mission is led by Commander Reed Wiseman, a Navy test pilot and single father. Beside him is pilot Victor Glover, who previously served as the first African-American to complete a long-duration mission on the International Space Station. They are joined by mission specialists Christina Koch, an engineer who holds the record for the longest single spaceflight by a woman, and Jeremy Hansen, a Canadian fighter pilot embarking on his first spaceflight after 14 years of training. Their first 23 hours in space are dedicated to a critical checkout. Pilot Glover will take manual control of Orion to practice rendezvous maneuvers with the spent upper stage of the SLS. Mastering these manual controls is a requirement for the program's next steps. Future missions will depend on the crew's ability to dock Orion with the complex commercial landers needed to reach the lunar surface. Once the manual checks clear, Mission Control gives the go for the translunar injection, a massive engine burn that commits Orion to a figure-8 path toward the moon. As you can see in this wireframe diagram, the living conditions for the 4-day coast are tight. 4 adults must share 316 cubic feet of habitable volume, roughly the interior space of a large SUV. In that tight space, they will conduct biological tests, most notably using Avatar. This is an organ-on-a-chip device, essentially a micro-engineered system lined with living human cells, designed to measure how deep space radiation damages human tissue at a cellular level. On Flight Day 6, Orion reaches its maximum distance. The spacecraft will swing approximately 4,700 miles beyond the lunar far side, surpassing the 248,655-mile distance record set by the Apollo 13 crew in 1970. For about 50 minutes, the mass of the moon will entirely block radio contact with Earth. The crew will be alone in the dark, observing a perspective of the lunar surface no human eyes have seen in person since 1972. The radiation data and life support performance from these 10 days will be analyzed to help engineers plan for the much longer environmental challenges astronauts will face during future transits to Mars. The return journey relies on lunar gravity to slingshot Orion back to Earth. The capsule hits the atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour, Mach 32, subjecting the outer shield to temperatures of 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This heat shield nearly derailed the mission. Following the uncrewed Artemis I test, engineers discovered unexpected charring and chunks of missing material in over 100 locations on the ablative exterior. This cross-section diagram shows the problem. During the originally planned skip re-entry maneuver, trapped gases built up under a sealed outer layer of char. The expanding pressure ultimately ejected physical chunks of the shield into the atmosphere. After 18 months of analysis, NASA made a calculated trade-off. They kept the existing shield, but changed the flight path, eliminating the skip maneuver in favor of a steeper, direct re-entry trajectory to carefully manage the heat buildup. To pull off this precise trajectory, Orion relies on refurbished hardware. The service module's main engine, along with 3 of the 4 RS-25s on the launch vehicle, are heritage units recycled from the Space Shuttle program. The crew's survival during the fastest crewed re-entry in history depends entirely on this specific change to the flight profile, ensuring the thermal loads remain within the shield's limits. The results of Artemis II will feed into a radically altered roadmap. In early 2026, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman announced a sweeping restructuring of the program's architecture. Artemis III is now a low Earth orbit test mission focused on docking systems. Because of development delays with commercial landers, the first actual crewed landing has been pushed to Artemis IV in 2028. The long-term objective involves a more permanent presence. NASA has allocated a $20 billion target for the construction of a permanent lunar surface base between 2029 and 2036. This timeline is critical because competing geopolitical blocs are forming. 61 nations have signed the US-led Artemis Accords, while 13 nations have joined China's International Lunar Research Station. There is zero overlap between the two groups. Artemis II verifies the core technology required for these ambitions. It demonstrates that the life support, radiation shielding, and thermal protection systems function exactly as intended in the deep space environment. Ultimately, this mission validates the Orion spacecraft as a functional crew transport vehicle. By proving these flight systems in a real lunar environment, NASA secures the primary method for moving humans to the moon and back.